Welcome to the Marshall News and Views Show. I'm Elaine Conyers, and my guest today is Mayor of Marshall, Robert Byrnes. And welcome you. You've been on before, but it's been a while. We've got a lot to catch up on.
Well, thank you, Elaine, and Bob is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So lots of stuff has been going on. You have been mayor now for 24 years. That's quite a record, and lots of wonderful things have been happening in Marshall with your leadership. And one of the latest things now that I think we should tell our viewers all about is that Camden Trail. How is that coming along?
Well, the Camden Trail, there's one more phase to do that I'll talk about in just a second, but the most of it is done. Now, this is a nice cooperation between Lyon County, which was the lead on this project, City of Marshall, City of Lind, and the State of Minnesota and Department of Natural Resources. So this is a bike trail that starts in Marshall and goes to Camden State Park. About a year or so ago, the portion in Camden was completed, and the portion on this end was completed through Victory Park, which was the old Wayside Park.
Oh, sure.
And then several years prior to that, there was the portion that was on top of the flood control project. The final phase was completed mostly last fall, and then finish up this spring, connecting those points. So now you can ride a bike all the way from Marshall to Camden State Park. Camden State Park, of course, is really one of the nicest state parks, and is really a gem of a state park. It's so it's an interesting trail system. It actually is quite an elevation difference. It's almost 300 feet of elevation difference higher than at Camden State Park to Victory Park.
Okay.
So there is one more phase that will be completed between now and June 30th of next year. And that is the phase that will connect the existing trail that's by Channel Parkway and the start of the trail, which is on the Lyon County Fairgrounds behind the ice arena. So it will connect that portion. It will cross the railroad tracks, cross Highway 19, come in, cross Fairgrounds Road, and then come back and connect to the trail. So that's the final link. Right now, you have that portion if you were starting at the Red Baron Arena and the Minnesota pond, the pond that looks like Minnesota at the corner of Highway 23 and 19. That's really where the trail starts. So you can bike all the way around, which goes around the flood control project to North 7th Street, then crosses Highway 59, follows Channel Parkway, then to Highway 19. Then we have that portion that's yet to be constructed, and then we'll then connect with the existing portion and ride all the way to Camden State Park.
Wow.
So that is, that's right at about 15 miles.
Yeah, I was wondering,
one way. So it's really a nice ride.
Yes.
And so this was funded. The majority of the funding came from the Legacy Grant. Multiple applications for the Legacy Grant, which was really nice to see. And then, of course, the local match then came from City of Marshall, City of Lind, Lyon County, and then the Department of Natural Resources provided in-kind because we're in their property. So it goes in through Camden State Park, just over a mile into Camden State Park on the trail. So it's really a wonderful trail, and in fact, to kind of introduce, and there's been a lot of people biking on this trail, but really to kind of formally introduce people to the Camden Regional Trail. We are going to have a Bike to Camden Day, and that will be held on Saturday, July 16th. We're going to start behind the arena at the fairgrounds. That's where the starting point will be at 9:30 in the morning, and then people can choose to bike as far as they want to. If they go to Victory Park, we're going to have some refreshments, ice cream that will be available at Victory Park, some sign-ups for some nice giveaways that are provided from the bike shop and some other local businesses. if they continue on to Camden State Park, the state park system has a few giveaways that they'll give out there. We'll probably have a water stop in Lynn. So, so this would be a nice day to really experience the trail. And if folks, again, haven't been out there, it would be a nice way to really see some of the beauty that we really have in this part of the state. And again, you can, if you want to bike a little ways, that's fine. If you want to go, the full, all the way to Camden State Park and back, that's also a nice ride too. So.
Now, and this is kind of like a grand opening then that will be held on that, or not?
I don't really want to call it a grand opening because we still have one more phase to complete. So really the grand opening will probably be next year.
Okay.
But this is it's just the Bike to Camden Day.
Okay.
So.
Have there been riders from other communities that have signed up to come, or don't they have to sign up?
Yeah, there's no sign up. This is just, people are invited to come. It's really a time for all the public, really, to experience biking. And, not only is it a nice trail, but also biking is a nice, healthy activity, and we certainly want to promote healthy living.
Right.
So Saturday, July 16th, we're going to start at 9:30 in the morning. Families are welcome. Individuals are welcome.
But it's only bicycles. You can't, I bet there's no scooters or anything, or roller skates allowed, or?
Well, it could be walking, and it and it could be rollerblading. No motorized vehicles.
No, yeah. I took with Glenn Olson, our city engineer. Oh, that must have been 3 years ago. Just down through that trail that goes in through Camden. It was just fantastic.
It is,
because it's so beautiful, places that we've never really seen before, unless we've gone walking into the wooded area. But it was just so beautiful.
It is, yes.
Now we have. I know that there are, we have had even some groups come to our community and then to bike in the area, and then they probably camp at Independence Park. That is not something we're promoting at this point. That's just something that probably happens every summer.
Well, there's different organized bike rides, and really what you're referring to is the 2 years ago, the MS Tram, which is TRAM is the acronym for the Ride Around Minnesota.
Okay.
They did a stop in Marshall on their annual ride. I always ride that bike ride every year. It's about a 300-mile ride. It's stretched over five days. It's a fundraiser for multiple sclerosis. And so 2 years ago it was here. Last year, the Department of Natural Resources Commissioner had a ride called Pedal the Prairie that came through Marshall, actually ended in Marshall, and went around multiple state parks in southwest Minnesota and ended in Marshall. So, this year there's no organized ride that has a stop in Marshall, but, that will happen again.
Sure.
2 years ago the MS Tram ride, that attracts about 700 riders, and that's a camping event, so they camped at Independence Park.
So. Well, just kind of a sideline is I have a daughter that belongs to a group out of Iowa, and for the last 2-3 years, they have been checking with me to see if they can come through this new trail. And I said, well, it's not ready yet.
Well, tell them to come this year. It's fine. We're ready.
We're ready for that. And then they said, we want to camp in your backyard. And I said, we could arrange it so you camp in Independence Park. That's where I think usually they haven't only stayed there. I know there was other places they stayed, but anyway, I think they were thinking about that there was an indoor bathroom there, but whatever. So it's just there is some local interest that gets out there to other groups too. So, and it is just a wonderful thing that Marshall is offering to the public and to the area, and it's got to be beautiful, like you say. You have gone down that trail, and it's been put together very well, and it's another added feature for coming to Marshall.
Right. Not only is it a nice trail, a nice project, but it's also a nice example of really how we get things done in this area, in this region, in this community. That lots of partnerships. In this case,
sure.
The state of Minnesota, the Department of Natural Resources, the City of Lynn, City of Marshall, Lyon County, all working together.
Yes, that is a very good point, yes. And we're getting known for that, aren't we? We've done a lot of collaboration to get things done.
Right.
And there's been a lot happening in the last 5-6 years, and as far as Marshall's growth and bringing industry in and the arts through the downtown wall murals and things like that, and then plus the huge building of the Red Baron Arena, which is now open, of course. And it's all exciting things that is happening here in Marshall. And you've been a part of that. And just tell us a little bit about how this kind of all evolved.
Well, I think we do have a comprehensive plan that we're following. And that comprehensive plan had lots of community input. And it was really about how is Marshall positioned to be a place where families want to come and live and stay.
Okay.
And that really ties to, a number of things. Number one, we need jobs. So we've been working hard on our economic development. We opened an industrial park that's nearly full, and we're working on this year opening a addition to that industrial park, which would be called Commerce Park. Yeah. So continuing to work on jobs, continuing to work on health care, and we went from fairly limited access to health care in the community where folks needed to leave the community to have procedures, to probably having very, very good health care provided by two really quality organizations, both Avera Health Systems and ACMC affiliated community medical centers, really are quality providers. So that's another. Having a quality education system, having being supportive of our higher education system, and then also having those amenities that families and individuals are looking for if they're going to come to a community and live in a community and stay in a community. So when we're looking at the Red Baron Arena that you referenced, that's really part of a larger plan where there's not only the 2 sheets of ice and the Expo Center, which really attracts tournaments and visitors from other communities that will stay in our hotels and spend dollars in the community. But it's also part of this larger complex, which there's the ball complex for softball and youth baseball. There's the soccer fields. There's the practice football fields. There's the tennis courts there. There's then the pedestrian underpass to the SMSU side, which opens up the track and field facility, the ball fields and football stadium, and so all of these things really work together. So if there's we're really positioned to host multiple big events there. So there'll be, so the Red Baron Arena, Expo Center, as you mentioned, is one component of that that's nearing completion right now. It's actually open, but we're still finishing up on some of the construction issues and some of the landscaping issues. That was authorized by a number of funding sources, the largest of which was the local option sales tax. It is nearing completion. We're about $750,000 under budget on this, so that's good. There's been other components of it that the City Council has authorized that are separate from that, like the ball fields that will replace the ball fields on softball complex on Channel Parkway, which those ball fields have some issues with the fence length and some of the conditions of the field, as well as the linear arrangement of those fields, where the regional tournaments have now said that they would not come there any longer. They want to be at a field that's designed like the new fields, at the complex at the Schwann's activity area. So all of that will be good, and that will really be one of those amenities. And there'll be other activity that will be out there. We fully anticipate there'll be a hotel development that will be there. Perhaps there'll be some conference facilities that will be there. So,
sure.
So we have the start there, and that will only add more as we go on in time.
Yes. Well, then also at that arena, there will also be some time put aside for big shows and gatherings on that one sheet of ice. Like in the summer, it will be kind of, there'll only be one sheet of ice, right?
Right. There's 2 sheets of ice there.
Right now,
the capacity for 2 sheets of ice. The rink 2, which will be the Lockwood rink, that is will have permanent ice year round. So as we speak right now, there's youth that are practicing there. There's other towns that have rented time there. So that's going on. That'll be permanent ice. But the expo side, which has the retractable seating, that's the larger floor, that can also accommodate trade shows, perhaps concerts.
Oh, sure.
And other things can happen there. And during the summer, for 6 months of the year, that will not have ice on there. That will be a dry floor, so events can happen in there.
Yeah. They even talk about weddings and receptions there.
There's also been already been significant interest there in having events there. Sure.
And then the Marshall Community Visitors Center has been very good to collaborate with us on setting up tournaments.
Right. It's one thing to have nice facilities and nice venues to host, but it also takes a lot of organization as far as number one, getting the word out so that that those events can come to the community, but also coordinating it so that it's timed out properly, so that we're not double booking, and that so things can get spread out adequately through the year. So that's one of the exciting things that has happened in the community.
And I know I've mentioned this before. The viewers get tired of hearing me say this, but Marshall has always been a regional center, and it continues to be. And something like that doesn't just happen. The community itself has to keep working to keep it a regional center. You just can't sit back and say, well, we're here now and that's it. You have to continue working to bring more events and more population and more industry to the community.
And also, continuing to work on transportation so that we know that, we're at the intersections of multiple highways, Highway 59, Highway 68, Highway 19, Highway 23, all intersect in the community. And, last year was the big construction year for Highway 23 and Highway 59. So there's been a lot of improvements. Actually, Highway 23 has some improvements that are going on now with passing lanes between Wilmer and Jasper, both to the north, the east, and southwest of Marshall. So that will continue to improve Highway 23. We will see some improvement this year that will happen yet this year on Highway 19 as it goes through Marshall. The portion from Bruce Street to about Greeley Street. Greeley Street is west of Schwann's corporate office. So that's the one portion of the highway system, state highway system in the community it's in disrepair. It's rough. So, and MnDOT does recognize that. And last Friday they announced that they will do a thin overlay of asphalt on that road. That's a temporary patch. It is slated for reconstruction, but that reconstruction on the schedule right now is the year 2025. So having that overlay over the top of it, is designed to, improve the driving surface and hopefully last until the road is completely reconstructed. And of course, one of the reasons that it is pushed out is that that's an expensive project, and MnDOT has their own funding issues, of course. But not only is it a road that needs to be completely reconstructed, but the base, or the 6 foot underneath it, needs to be removed. Lots of utilities under there as far as electric and water and sewer and wastewater, stormwater. So there's lots of utilities. So it's a very expensive stretch of road.
Yeah. And MnDOT is also having meetings with the public with more improvements to the 23 bypass, which is interesting too. That they're still working with us to make sure that that's a safe stretch around Marshall there. And of course they did the big project, like you say, with that pedestrian overpass and everything on Saratoga. They finished that now. I think it's all finished, isn't it? Maybe
well, there's a little bit of landscaping, reseeding that is yet to be done, but the important parts of that project, the safety improvements, the reduced conflict intersection, or some people call them J-turns, that was opened last November. The pedestrian bridge was opened late last year. There's a fair amount of activity on the pedestrian bridge. And of course, the whole idea there is to, have the pedestrians separated from the vehicle traffic. The J-turns have worked exceedingly well. Since opening, there has been 0 accidents at that intersection. Of course, we all know there is, frequent and tragic accidents that happened prior to this.
So that is really good, and I guess I'm the MnDOT representatives were on the show here a couple of weeks ago, and I had to compliment them that they're still working in Marshall. They're still helping us because this is a major community center, and we need to make sure that everything is safe, that traveling is safe, and they are stepping to the plate. They're getting public input and all of that, so that's great.
Very good.
So, we lots of things have been going on and are still going on. Do you see anything in the future that you would like to share with us that you could see possibly will add to Marshall to make it bigger?
Well, we continue to work on multiple areas, multiple areas of economics, economic development, some of our business development. We see, activity there. So it's always more than just one thing. So there's a lot of things that we really need to kind of keep up in the air. Down the road, I mean, we know that we have some other needs that we have. Our municipal building has some issues that will need to be addressed. We've kind of been pushing those to the side as we've addressed other issues and been involved in other projects. But we know that that's an issue. We know at some point down the road, we'll have to do some improvements to our aquatic center. The last improvements happened about 20 years ago. So there's are some improvements, some just plain maintenance things that will need to be addressed. And of course, we need to pay attention to all of those things. But at the same time, we also need to kind of have a well-managed city. I think one of the things during the city council, I think we can be proud of is that our tax rate really has not changed for probably 10 years or so.
That's amazing.
So and that's, we've had growth in our budget and growth in our city, but our tax rate has stayed the same. So, and I'm talking just of the city portion of the property tax. So really what that means is that, we've had growth in the community, and our growth in our city budget has kind of matched the growth in the community. So your property tax on your house, my property tax on my house, probably has stayed the same, or maybe even went down a little. Actually, most people's houses, unless they, had an improvement or, their valuation, increased, they've had a change. Their property tax are the same. We've benefited from having good leadership in the community. Our city administrator, Ben Martic, who recently left us. He was a very talented person. Tom Melbrook, our finance director, he'll be retiring at the end of August. However, we do have Carla Drown, who is our new finance director, a very talented person, who will be our finance director. Harry Weilage, who has really been our person who has kind of carried a lot of the vision in the community and was very passionate. He'll be retiring at the end of July after 36 years in the community.
Yeah.
And we are interviewing next week for applicants for his position. We hope to have someone named, by the time Harry does retire. And of course, our new city administrator, Nicholas Johnson, he will start on July 11th, coming to us from the city of Canby. So we have high hopes for him. I'm sure you'll be talking to him on this program in the future.
He's scheduled for very soon here. And after he takes office, then he'll come and do a show right away.
Very good. Good.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we just can be very, very proud of our community and very, very proud of our leadership. And I just hope that our community residents too realize the how this is so important to keeping us a growing community and a regional center. And I think that the point you just brought up too, that the city taxes have not really grown for our residents. That is really something. So we can be very proud of that too.
Right. Yeah, and no one likes paying taxes, but at least our tax rate has been stable.
Yeah, so that's right. So, well, that looks like too that we've got some more things that need to be taken care of in the future, and I know they'll be done well because we have strong leadership in our community, and we certainly appreciate all the work that you have put in over the last 24 years, and that's just amazing, just amazing. So we'll go down in history. We'll continue to go down in history, right? As a very prominent community, and I think. You talked a little bit about the younger people maybe coming to Marshall because it is a vibrant community. It's also a safe community. And we're seeing young people who maybe leave after high school or college at SMSU, go out and work for a few years. Isn't long before they come back because they realize this is a good place to live.
Yeah, actually, the census data, when we pull apart the census data, you do see that point between age 30 and age 50. Oh. That's where we have a spike. Okay. So we have a spike in the census population of the high school, college age, because of course SMSU.
Yes.
Then it goes down. Then it comes back up. And of course those people that are in the 30 to 50, at that point they probably are somewhat established, maybe in their job or career or their life. Maybe they have a family. And they're at that point, they're probably in a position of actually contributing back to the community, becoming involved in their church or fraternal organizations or whatever, maybe even city council.
That's right. Yeah. So it is exciting, and we can be proud and we can brag about it.
We should. When I mentioned city council, we should mention, of course, we have elections again this year.
Yes.
And filings for our local positions do open up in August.
Late August. Yeah. So we'll certainly keep that in mind. And so again, thank you for coming on the show today and for all your contribution to our community over the years. And we'll have you back soon.
Well, thank you, Elaine. Thanks for what you do, and thanks for this program.
Well, thank you.